Hi everyone, Nate here, recording a little solo video of my re-reaction, my second watch to Wheel of Time on Prime's first episode. Jesse, Ben, and I got together, we recorded our podcast for the first episode, and it's up on Podbean. Jesse's working on highlights to upload on YouTube. That should be up later this week. Episodes 2 and 3 should also be up later this week. And yeah, I wanted to do a reaction to the first episode because I felt like I was overly critical of it. The first thing that made me rethink my opinion of the first episode is there's this great Reddit thread where someone was like, I don't understand why all the book readers are being this critical of the series. Like, this is possibly our only chance at getting a TV movie production of this at this high of a quality level, this high of a budget, all of that. And then I started looking on Twitter and I realized the book readers really wanted like a one-to-one recreation of the books, and that just never was going to happen. And I think that's what I went into this looking to see. And when I watched it a second time, I realized a lot of the things in the books would have been very boring TV, and also you wouldn't be as invested in the characters outside of Rand. Okay, so in chronological order, I wrote notes because I don't want to go on an ADHD tangent here where I jump from one thing to another, like I normally do when I do videos, when I do presentations, everything. Very hard for me to focus. Sorry. So at the very start, you have Moraine doing her little spiel, which is great. It's so dramatic. It gets you so excited. It gets the adrenaline pumping. Amazing. And then you have the scene with the Reds hunting down the male channeler. And there's some weird speculation where people seem to think that Leandrin killed him, and I don't think that's fair. I don't know. I haven't rewatched episode 3 yet to see if the male channeler is with them, but like watching just episode 1, it doesn't look that way. It does him screaming, the camera pans away, and he just stops, which could just be him passing out, fainting from being stilled, because it's a very intense process. Okay. Then you move on to the Two Rivers, and you have all of the drama happening there. And watching this is the first time, I was like, I don't like all these added drama. I don't like all of these things. It's weird. But watching it a second time, I realize all this drama is necessary, because if not, the Two Rivers would be so boring to watch. Because you read the books, and it's a lot of world building in those first dozen chapters. And a lot of exposition, which doesn't make for interesting TV. You need that drama, you need things happening to draw you into the characters, because the other thing you look at is very early on in book 1, there is not a lot of character development for anyone other than Egwene, Nynaeve, and Rand. Perrin and Mat are pretty much nothing into, like, if trying to age them up and move away from the whole, like, oh, Matt's a prankster, he's such a funny, silly guy, and Perrin being his quiet, reserved self, and trying to bring him a little bit out of his shell in this, you really have no other way of doing it where those two characters get as much development as they need to be main characters that people simp for, people empathize with right from the start. So the first character who they changed a little bit of his intro story, is Perrin. He's married to Layla. And the first time I watched this, I was like, this is wrong. Perrin should never be married. This is gross. And then watching it a second time, I realized how good of a character Layla is. She has a lot of interest and intrigue and questions to be like, okay, why is she being so cold to Perrin? Perrin clearly loves her. He clearly cares about her. What's going on? Why didn't she go to the Wine Spring Inn? Why isn't she hanging out with everyone? All of these questions. And it's such an interesting character, and it's like, where is she going? Where is she going? And then they fridge her. And God, I hate that. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. Like, it felt like lazy writing. It felt wrong. She had such potential to add to the story, and they're just like, no, we're just gonna use her to make people empathize with Perrin more and like Perrin more and give Perrin like this whole getting over his fear of fighting type arc. It looks like where it's going. Then Matt, they changed him a lot, where it's not like he's this playful trickster who likes to play jokes, who likes to be flirtatious. They changed it so that way he's a thief. And when I first watched it, I was like still kind of expecting him to be like his flirty self. And the big scene that stood out to me is the fact that he stole the bracelet from the one girl for lanterns. And I thought that he was buying those just for like girls that he was planning on dancing with at Beltane. I didn't realize he was buying them for his little sister. And so watching it a second time, I realized that. And I'm like, wow, that's actually really sweet. It's really cute how Matt cares so much about his little sisters. And then you have the added drama of like his dad being an adulterer, his mom being an alcoholic. And again, it's that drama you need to add to a TV show to make it more interesting, to make it so that way people are like, oh my god, what's happening? Oh, poor Matt, stuff like that. Um, and like I said, overall, adding more drama to the two rivers makes for more interesting TV. Um, I still feel like Rand did not get enough character development. I still simp like crazy for him because, again, as I will always say, he is hot as hell. I'm still a little worried about Lan and Moraine's relationship being misconstrued by the fandom as like, oh, they have like romantic interests in each other, um, which I don't like because obviously all the things that happen with Lan later, um, because like in the books their relationship, yes, it was intimate and personal, but it definitely felt like they were just best friends, and they also kept it kind of professional. um the other thing that I'm a little that I was a little concerned about watching just episode 1 is it seemed like the weaving kind of seemed like it could have possibly been seen by everyone, because like you're seeing Moraine do all these things, and all of the one power is flowing around her and doing stuff, and they don't exactly explain right away that weaving can only be seen by channeler, or specifically the female side of the one power can only be seen by female channelers, and that the male side can be seen by male channelers. And so it's kind of interesting to think about this, and it's like, oh, if you weren't a book reader, it's like, oh, you're seeing it from Egwene or Nynaeve's perspective with her with Moraine channeling, and it's like, okay, it makes sense. But for non-book readers, it kind of just looks like she's casting magic, uh, like from any other fantasy series. And I think that's a little unfortunate because in Wheel of Time, you have this really great, really interesting really built up magic system that's so cool and so well thought out, and I love it. And I really hope that they don't get away from that too much. And it seems like they're not going to, with like Moraine literally like passing out from exhaustion from channeling, as well as the Trolloc poison. Um, do do do. And one last thing I wanted to touch on. Nope, that was all my topics. One thing that I did just think about is the hair marked sword. It's not marked on the handle, which makes me curious with how things are going to happen with what happens at the end of book 2. Um, yeah, but that's it. Overall, I think it's really good. And I maintain my position that episode 2 gets better and then episode 3 gets better. It was just episode 1 because that's where you see this huge divergence from the book, lots of big changes, and it gets you, as a book reader, very concerned. Um, so I'm probably not going to do this for episodes 2 and 3 because I didn't have a lot of grievances watching it for the first time, and I didn't feel like I'm also, we haven't recorded our reactions to those yet, so I definitely feel like I'm not going to be as critical. I actually feel like episode 2 definitely the best one in the 3. Um, in episode 3, I think is also interesting. It definitely better than episode 1. But yep, I'm not gonna do this for episode 2 and 3. I'm just going to leave my reactions on our podcast and leave it there. Oh crap! Did I talk about Rand and Egwene's relationship? Oh yeah. Rand and Egwene's relationship makes sense. They aged up the characters. It, the whole will they won't they thing makes sense when in Wheel of Time, where they kind of all feel like 15-year-olds. But when they're actually acting like 20-year-olds and you already have Perrin married, it makes sense that they're already a couple. All right, that's all my thoughts on episode 1. With my rewatching it, thank you for listening to my reaction, and yeah, I hope you watch some of our other content. Jesse's been working hard, makes some really good videos. Hopefully, I'll put out some more content. Let me know what you want to see from me. I like to play video games. Could talk endlessly about video games, things going on in the video game industry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anime, maybe a little bit. I do love anime. I could talk about that a lot too. I am thinking about doing a video for a specific anime that I think deserves anime of the season for winter 2021. But yeah, let me know if you'd like to see that. Let me know what you would like to hear from me. And I'll see you the next time the wheel turns.